Okay, hello everybody. It's Tyler, and welcome to another CGS live stream. Glad you could join me here. And what are we doing today? Well, as the title suggests, we're going to be doing some character concept art, which is always exciting, right? Excuse me. So, the title is Fox Wizard and Shroom Buddy. What the hell is Fox Wizard and Shroom Buddy? Well, I figured give you a little story to start things out with, to introduce these two little characters that we're going to be working on. Basically, the purpose behind these characters is CGS has a really cool 3D modeling program for its students, and they wanted me to do some additional character concept work that the students might be able to model for their studies. So as part of that, it's a kind of an intro program, so they want the characters to be a little bit on the simpler side, but really have some convincing volumes so that they could see the three-dimensional forms easily in the concept. And so that's sort of the major goals that I'm trying to hit here with this, and just make it a fun concept overall that people might enjoy modeling. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into a little poem I wrote to get us in the proper mood for these characters. There once was a fox who wished to be a wizard, but all she could summon was just a dumb lizard. With her hopes all dashed, she fled into the wood, wishing the world would leave her for good. But as she walked down the path in dismay, she heard the loud sounds of a hunt underway. And only a moment after, when she did notice, out popped a friend, a shroom buddy, my goodness. He jumped at her yelling, "Save me, I'm toast." It was clear help was needed. His face was pale as a ghost. There was no question that demons drew near. Panic began filling them both with great fear. But in this moment, the fox's doubts seemed to wane. Her focus welled up like a great dragon flame. And as the demons began rounding the turn, poof! They both vanished, leaving only the forest fern. Safe and sound, the fox and her friend appeared far away and around the next bend. "You've done it!" the shroom exclaimed, with well-earned applause. "You're a wizard for sure, you just needed a cause." The fox and the shroom were forever now chummy to take on the world as wizard and buddy. So, I just wrote this really quick. Making note, I'm not a writer or great with grammar, but you know, it gets us a starting point, right? And this is a point I want to make here is it's good to think about a little bit of story for your character. Doesn't have to be a fancy poem, right? I was just doing that for fun for the stream here, but think a little bit about the character's backstory. If you're not given a story for your character, then you should have some sense of that going in to what you're creating. If you have a blank page and a blank head, well, that's two problems, right? So try and eliminate one of those, and you can go a long way. Find some reference as well. Get inspired by what people are doing, what you're seeing in reality. Try and eliminate as many questions as you can, because it'll make your life a lot easier. So we have some jumping off point here, and the only thing left to do is to just get started on this character concept. So let's do it. How's everybody doing, by the way? Everybody having a good week so far? You all hanging in there? Staying safe out there? I'll leave this over here in case anybody pops along. I guess we're probably not going to be able to see that, actually, because I'm going to maximize this. But anyway, if anybody wants to see that later, I'll make it accessible somewhere. Okay. So Fox Wizard and Shroom Buddy. So Shroom Buddy, what is that? So he's going to be a little mushroom character that kind of helps her out. Hey, Trash Art, thanks. Appreciate that. I'm gonna get warmed up here. I'm gonna do some spirals. Let's see here. You guys do warm-ups at all? Warm-ups, like, you know, think about working out. You don't want to pull a muscle, right? You got to kind of get everything flowing in there. And also get your brain juices moving. It's kind of important to get yourself in that right state mentally and physically. Because like an athlete training, they wouldn't start training if they were all tired and stiff, all stressed out or something. You know, that would be, I mean, sometimes you have to, but it's definitely an extra hurdle to go through. So do what you can to get into that right zone. You know, and sometimes it takes a couple minutes. That's okay. And so this is how I usually start things out, is just very tiny little silhouette studies. An approach where I can change my mind and alter big things very quickly. All right, so that gives us kind of a starting point here, and kind of play around with some proportions and maybe some variations and see how it's feeling. And then we may kind of redraw this, right? Kind of push the perspective a little bit, maybe change our angle on it. Those are all things we want to get sorted out before we dive into the final drawing. Because what I typically recommend is when you're first starting out, your clarity, of course, is minimal on the design. So you don't want to have a lot of other challenges to deal with, like a lot of perspective, a lot of foreshortening, rather. So I have kind of a simple ground plane here, low horizon line. Characters are not super dynamic. I mean, not that we're going to make them super dynamic. It's a character concept, not an illustration. So we're not going to have them, you know, doing something super crazy comic booky with their pose. It's going to be a simpler pose, but still the angles are everything are very kind of simple right now. And that's because we're figuring out how they look. Once we figure that out, we might be able to push that a little bit. But just kind of give yourself as few challenges as you can at one time. That's the biggest kind of, I guess, mistake I see really students making, is that they're giving themselves too many balls to juggle at the same time. And then you drop all of them, right? So, you know, start with just 2 balls, then move up to 3, then 4. And you do that by breaking processes apart into smaller steps, more bite-sized pieces. And you know, that's just a lot more approachable. Okay, so hey Tatum, thanks for joining, appreciate it. So let's I'm going to duplicate this over here. What I want to do is play with head size, because, you know, head size is a huge variable. You know, we could go, I mean, look at this. We could go, look how much that changes things if we went that big. Like, let's actually include the hat on that. Oops, I just hit save. Oh, there we go. Actually, in fact, let me just save this document real quick. If you're working on something right now, guys, save. Remember to save often. But yeah, see if we change the head size there. Look how much that changes how that feels. Totally different feel, right? It's good to play with that stuff. In a stylized world, these proportions are completely up to you. The only thing you have to consider is there a logical form of locomotion, and can they perform the tasks they need to in the narrative, right? So, like, if she needs to express a lot of emotion, then her design might need to have a facial features that we can show those emotions with, right? So if we have a mask on her and the mask covers up all of her emotions, well, then, you know, that might not be good for the narrative. But, you know, just keep those things in mind. And I can say that I think immediately I like the slightly larger head on this character. Perhaps there's a little, like, shoulder unit here. Dario asks, any clever shortcut for mirroring the canvas? Mirroring the canvas. And do you mean just flipping it so we see the mirror image? Or do you mean actually having things copied across like a line of symmetry down the middle, like a bilateral symmetry axis? Because I know the newer Photoshop has a symmetry function. I'm not on the newer one here. but I know it does have that feature. For me, flipping things horizontally, I just have set to Shift Control H, and mirroring vertically, I have Shift Control V. That's how I do that. And in fact, that's something that you want to be doing as you're working here, is to be seeing how the overall symmetry is looking on your character. Give yourself some fresh eyes on your design. So she's gonna have maybe like a little wizard satchel here. And I don't want to get too complex with this character because this is for the intro modeling students. And we really just want some big simple volumes here for them to work from. But at the same time, we need some stuff that really helps us understand her character. Cool, yeah, Husky, that sounds good. Definitely try to find a way that's really nice and efficient for you in terms of your workflow. So yeah, this pouch is closed here, and I'm inclined to think that maybe it's more fun to have it open so we can see something. Well, because I really want like a potion bottle in here somewhere is what I'm wanting. So I'm kind of thinking maybe this guy gets turned inward. So he's kind of facing her. They're kind of looking at each other. I mean, not directly looking, but there's just sort of an inward quality to them. Maybe the flap kind of Okay, let's scale these up because we're starting to get into some smaller details now to where I need a bit more resolution. You know, it could be that, you know what, let's do this. Have this be a closed pouch here, maybe with a nice big button on it. And maybe we'll put a potion bottle here. With a little strap kind of holding it in place on the shoulder belt. Little cork there. I think that's going to be a fun hit of color if we have a potion there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried right now about everything being super clean. We're going to do a clean line drawing on top of all this. And we might even redraw this completely to get a more dynamic angle. I'm still not completely sure if I want to do that or not. This might be fine. But right now I'm still resolving aspects of the design. So when you see me kind of cleaning shapes up, it's not in an effort to make this look better. It's in an effort for me to kind of understand the design better. And I've got this cape implied here, but we don't have a sense of how that's connecting in the front. Could have it just sort of be like a scarf-like wrap in the front here. Maybe there's like a big sort of clasp or a big kind of medallion right there where it's coming together. But this cape here could be another hit of color, right? We have some nice color leading you up to the face area here with this neck element. And then we're going to have that come back down to the bottom here. So we'll have this color kind of leads you through the design, kind of flow through. So that I think will be a nice choice there. All right, let's work on our Shroom buddy a little bit. So he's going to have this cauldron balanced on his head. Her wizard cauldron, right? She's got to come up with some fancy little alchemical creations. The Trasher, I was just catching up on the comments. Yeah, seems like we were both thinking in the same direction there. And Puss in Boots vibe, awesome. Yep, I could definitely see some of that coming in here. This is another place where maybe we play with proportions a bit. Should we scale up his hat a bit? It's not his hat, right? It's well, cap, I guess, the mushroom cap. Kind of feels like a hat though. And I don't know if we're going to really have any background in this, but we can maybe have a few little hits of grass or something to imply that they're in some kind of a natural environment. And I think that this staff handle wants to be a little twisted and kind of natural looking, so we'll add a bit of bend to it. And now we can see that there's a tangent between the ear and the moon. So let's fix that. We'll make the moon bigger. Create a clear sense of overlap there. These giant ears, it has kind of like a fennec fox quality to it, doesn't it? Which I don't have a problem with. Make everything a little wider, a little cuter. Okay. No, I don't like that. It competes with the ear shape. But I do like the little band here as a potential hit of color. Right at the top of the hat. But I'm a little sad that we don't have a view of the end of the hat. So the end of the wizard hat is really kind of key. So maybe we'll have that kind of come out all the way over here. Is that? No, that looks a little too crazy. Design challenges, design challenges. Maybe we can have it just poke out. Yeah, there we go. It's a little peak at that end. Cool. I created just a perfect little negative space for that. Not that you want to be doing that all the time. These convenient tangents can feel awkward, but in this case, I think it's working all right. And there'll be a little bit of fur on the inside of the ears here. They look a little steampunk. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this kind of concept of being self-sufficient, right? You have accessories on you to survive the wilderness. It gives a little bit of that steampunk vibe. Trash Art says, not gonna lie, a little jealous of students getting to model the end results of these. Yeah, I think the idea is that the curriculum right now has basically kind of like one option to model, and I think they want to just give people maybe 2 or 3 options to work from, so this would be injected in there as another option for students. Yeah, I happen to love little forest creatures and like anthropomorphized fruits and veggies. It's the stuff that makes me smile, man. I'm going to keep his body really nice and simple, just basic. A little cartoony, where we can kind of imagine his simple little limbs kind of flailing along as he walks through the forest. Is there anything else we want to do with the cauldron? I don't think I want to do anything fancy with this. I think the most we're going to do here is just have some fun little colorful bubbles popping up out of the cauldron, which if you were 3D modeling this, you could 3D model these little spheres, right? So I think it'd be fun addition. And if you were going to model this for 3D print, how might you tackle this area here? Well, you'd probably have some smoke. In fact, maybe we'll do that, so that way, in case someone wants to go the full distance on this, they can do that. We'll have some smoke in the concept, and then what you do is you'd model this out in a volumetric way, and then everything would connect together, right? So we'll make this concept 3D print friendly. Anything else in here that's not 3D print friendly? Well, these are a little bit thin, so I'll make the stalks a little thicker here. And you might need to kind of modify these in the model a little bit to make sure they have enough structural stability there. See how big we can go with the eyes before it starts to feel too out of place. Yeah, I think that's probably about as far as I would go with those. The cauldron also looks like it has a face. Huh. Interesting, yeah. Wait, are you seeing these as eyes? Because if you are, that's amazing. It's kind of like a Jim Henson thing going on. That's too funny. I think you're giving me ideas now. Like, does the cauldron, is it a talking cauldron? That's pretty fun narratively, right? Like, the cauldron is, I imagine, like, she's sort of like the, like, kind of like, like the innocent traveler, right? She's always in over her head, and he's sort of like the kind of like support, moral, maybe moral compass, or like kind of just encouragement. And then maybe the cauldron is sort of like the heckler of the group, kind of always complaining and stuff. All right. How do we, the thing is though, we need to kind of like make it more obvious, I think, right? So how do we do that? I guess because we need to make sure that people realize that's an intentional choice, but maybe it's already enough that it does look intentional. I think we need to maybe change the bubbles up here so that there's, or here, let's go back. Let's just make this bubble smaller. A derpy cauldron. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be really fun. Okay. I mean, does he have maybe little pupils? Can we get away with that? Maybe we just need that. Maybe they'll look like dimples in the smoke, just to kind of fully sell the idea there. All right, I think I'm gonna do that just so we're super clear that that's the intended situation there. I might want to change his face though to be kind of shifted to the other side, so we have a bit of difference between these fellows. They're not too mirrored there. In fact, actually, maybe I'll just take the whole body and flip it. This looks ridiculous. I love it. It helps when your drawings make you smile, you know. Okay, cool. I think this is definitely coming together here. And I wonder if this moon just can be even bigger. Let's see how far we can go with it. Like how much can we get away with? I think that might be. Yeah, I think that might be fine. Do we want a bit of angle to the top of the cauldron, or do we like it kind of flat? Let's see. Get that having a little bit of tilt to the cap here is already giving that a nice kind of feel. I'm gonna lower this down though. Look at this mushroom. Oh my god, you guys are cracking me up. Okay. So, but you see how like even just these little changes to the angle can add a lot or can change the feel quite a bit. That's why I like to do this very simple pass first, so you can play around with this stuff very easily. All right, guys, I think we might be getting close to doing some more final line art for this. Whoops. What the heck was that going on there? I just want to adjust the shroom cap slightly on this side. Cauldron shape a bit on this side, just a little bit. Maybe the cauldron's name is Bubbly. He's got bubbles coming out of him. To lower the arms on this guy a little bit. I don't know why she has armbands here, but she's gonna have armbands. Okay. The cool thing too is, like, if we wanted to, we could get away with implying a bit of perspective on the ground. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Like, we could change this to have just a little bit of ground in here, and it's not going to feel too weird to the eyes. Just so you have the opportunity to express, you know, a little bit of something going on down here. It might be just some rocks. And again, this is a character concept. We don't really need to get into this too much, but it's kind of nice to imply a setting just a little bit on the ground to complete the atmosphere. Just had to get my better half in here to see the mushroom. She loves it. Did my best to do a voice for the cauldron. Oh my god, I'd love to hear that. I can definitely hear it in my head. I definitely have a voice in my head for the cauldron. I'll give this a bit of volume here, just like a kind of a domed shape. I mean, hell, maybe we can continue that rhythm through these buttons here. Okay, I can reduce our canvas a bit here, get ourselves better framing on what we're doing. Boom, there we go. And now we need to add in her tail. So let's do that. Foxes have to have a tail, right? We can presume that it's sort of coming between her, like the back. I think of the outfit would be sort of raised up in the back for her tail to come out like this. And we might do a little auxiliary drawing later to show the backside or show behind the cape, just so that modelers will know what the heck's going on back there. But here we're sort of seeing it poke from underneath her sort of jacket or coat, I guess, or you know, whatever you want to call this thing, and the cape element. We'll do a little like kind of Mario tribute on the star here with the little face. Offset it a little bit up here so it kind of has this uplifted quality. There we go. All right, I think we might be ready to do some final line art on this guy. Now, I'm trying to think if I want to add like. No, I think that's good. Yeah. I think we're in a pretty good place here. Yeah. I say I'm ready to move on to the final lines, and then I keep tinkering, but you know what? I don't want to have to mess with things too much once I get these final lines in here, so... Okay, enough of that. Let's do this. Start with bubbly over here. Actually, look at that resolution. That's a problem. Whoops. Constrained proportions was turned off. Make sure you check your resolution when you're doing this stuff. Like, look at your line and see if you're getting nice, crispy, smooth lines. See that? That's the kind of lines we want. I'm going to put a little bit of line weight and implied volume into the line art here. You don't have to do that. It's totally optional. If you know you're going to paint things up, then the line art's going to disappear eventually anyway, potentially. So, you know, you kind of just adjust accordingly. I'm thinking I kind of want this line art to maybe have a nice feel on its own too, so... Hey kids, it's the magic shroom. Let's go on an adventure. Yes, the kind of adventure is up to you. name for the cauldron. Bubbles. I was thinking, yeah, like bubbly or bubbles. Definitely. The cauldron does look a little suspicious. I'm wondering what's brewing in there. It's for him to know and you to find out when you take your shroom journey, right? The highlight also has a face. This little guy right here, it's amazing. He's like, oh my goodness. What do they call that? Pareidolia, right? Where people see see, or I guess that maybe that's audio only. I hear voices or words and static. It's probably a term for that though, right? Where you see faces and things. I know there is. Trashar asks, do I have any reference up on another screen? Yes, I got some inspirational images. It's actually on my other computer, so I can't pull over, but it's basically just like some little fox creatures and little mushrooms and things. And then I have a few drawings in my sketchbook here on my desk of just some doodles that I did last night of some ideas. So they're just really kind of basic sketches of the character. I wanted to have a little bit of an idea going into this where I was headed, so I wasn't kind of wandering too much during the stream, but yeah, it's always good to have some inspiration and reference. And normally I'd actually do this line art pass on my Cintiq, or I'd print this out and do it in pencil, because I really like having some of that character come through. But it's a little easier for me to just do this on my main screen here for the stream, so which is just fine. I find the precise line art is just a little faster on paper, or on the Cintiq, just kind of a little bit more intuitive hand-eye coordination stuff going on. But for painting, I definitely like the regular tablet better. Do I ever draw on an iPad? No, actually, I have not drawn on an iPad, but I hear it's great, though. I'd like to at some point. Trying to think as volumetrically as possible with these lines, so that way when I get to the rendering stage, I have a clear sense of forms. Maybe kind of a shadow edge there. I don't always fill in black in the line art, but with the eyes, I think that's one place where it's a good place to do it, because It's like that focal point. Let's see. Blasphemer says, well, I never did drawings on a Cintiq, so I can't compare, but the iPad has like no parallax at all, and Procreate feels very nice in general. But the screen reel still stays small. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's good. That's what I hear too. I hear the parallaxing on the screen is really good. Some people like being able to use their whole arm when drawing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something that is of great benefit in many cases. We're a little bit, let's see if I can tilt my arm here to get this angle right. But yeah, we were a little bit loose in the original here on the face shape, so I got to be careful about resolving that now. Yeah, these line weights and cross hatchings here, totally optional. It just acts as kind of a reference point for me for where I want form to turn and some of the light to be implied. That's all just a matter of personal preference there. I want to make sure we're applying enough of this kind of slight fluffiness to the surface here. Imagine in the 3D version, in the sculpted version, it's not that there's like fur texture on things, but that it's kind of a sculpted quality. You imagine like a vinyl toy, for example. You'd have these little kind of bits of fur kind of popping off. They feel very, very simple. We're not talking about, this is not going to be, I don't think, I guess someone could approach it that way if they wanted to, but that's not how I'm implying it looks. Going for more of kind of a vinyl toy quality, not like a Monsters Inc. like realistic fur simulation kind of a feel, right? Really just kind of simple volumes. But that's up to the 3D artist too, though. You can kind of interpret it how you want to. see there, I was having to manage how the staff fit into the hand. You know, we had a little bit of a volume issue in the original doodle because it was just too loose, right? We didn't have a sense of the precision there. So those are the things that you're doing in this step. You want to resolve that stuff. The other thing I'll see students doing a lot worth mentioning is implying thickness like this with just a thicker black line, which you can get away with in some cases, but I generally try, if the volume is important there, I'll try to show it with multiple lines just to get a clearer read on that. It's mainly just for me so I can ensure that I'm not cheating about any of the volumes. It's one of the reasons why sculpting is a really good way of practicing, learning things like, I mean, any kind of forms really, but particularly anatomy, because it forces you to think through the volumes. You know, if you're working with a physical medium, you can't hide like you can in a drawing from those forms. You have to resolve all of them. Yeah, I don't really like how that was feeling. It's not voluminous enough. Let's wrap that a bit more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I feel like that's all coming together pretty good so far. Do I have any smoothing enabled? I don't. I'm actually not in the version of Photoshop that has that feature, but you can get, if you have an older version of Photoshop, you can install something called Lazy Nizumi Pro. It's a plugin for older Photoshops that gives you smoothing, and I don't have it on this machine right now, but it is nice. It's a cool feature. I really like the smoothing there. But yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't have it installed right now. Looking real nice. Thanks, Blasphemous. Appreciate that. Kind of neglected the top of this ear here. You guys are probably looking at that like, when is he going to fix the top of that ear? That always happens when I'm watching an artist's work, right? I'm like focusing on one part they're not looking at. Actually, you know what we could do here? We could bulge the pocket out a little bit more. And we could have some little shrooms in the pocket. Like she's been gathering them in the woods. Prepare her next magic potion. Yeah, there you go. Shroom Buddy just popped them right out of his head there. He's a constant source of recipe ingredients. Try to keep a consistent approach to how I'm drawing that fur there. It's a bit more rounded on this character. Okay. Playing around with this wrapping a bit more here because it's feeling a little flat and graphical, which is what we want to avoid. Will I finish it today or just line art? So you want to see it finished? Oh, I appreciate that. So we're going to probably continue this for another stream next time because I'm going to end the stream here in about 10 minutes or so. So these Steam streams are 2 hours long. So we're going to get through the line art, luckily. So that's great. We figured out our character design and we're going to have all these lines cleaned up. So that way next time we'll be able to dive right into the painting process. And so I think this will probably be wrapped up on next stream. At the most 3 streams long, depending. I mean, this is a simpler character, so we should be able to get through it just fine. Depends on how crazy I want to go with it. But again, this is for the intro modeling students, so I don't want to get too hardcore with it. I want to keep it pretty simple But I also want the render to look nice and volumetric. I want all of the forms to be lit really well. And since the forms are kind of simple, it allows us to really focus on good lighting and just a really good realistic looking render. And we'll have some fun with colors, right? There, we haven't made any color choices yet. I feel like there's a lot of fun color choices to be made with this character. And we'll do that together, hopefully on the next stream, right? So let's keep moving through the line art here. I think we're all set in a good position to get that finished up for this stream, and I'm really happy about that. Wow, that's a really bad tangent there between the edge of that. Let's do this. Tangents flatten things and they feel coincidental, so we want to avoid them whenever we can. All right. I think that is pretty darn close. Okay, so we've got our character figured out. We have our final lines in place. Actually, there's one last thing. This is a terribly awkward tangent with the edge of the coat here, so let's poke that shroom out a bit more. All right. Oh, that's tangenting so badly. I'm just gonna kind of break the silhouette even more there with that final shroom bit. There we go. Okay. Jeez, missed that right away. Okay. There we go. So we've got the little fox wizard and her shroom buddy, and Bubbly, the animated cauldron friend as well, which is kind of an unexpected addition, but I think he's fun, and I think it'll be a lot of fun painting this up. I'm very pleased with how it came out. So I hope you enjoyed watching this come together. Thanks for joining me, and stay tuned to this channel for other awesome content from CGS and the other mentors. And if you guys are interested, check out CG Spectrum, our website. We've got awesome courses for concept art, 3D modeling, animation, effects, all kinds of stuff. So definitely give that a look if you aren't familiar with that. I highly recommend it. All right, guys, thank you again, and I'll see everybody next time. Bye-bye.